Today we're going to be talking about the best solo VR shooters available on all platforms as of right now in 2024. As always, I put the vote out to you guys in the community tab. You pick which genre I'm going to do the next top 10 on, and you guys picked the solo VR shooters. Now, this is a very close to my heart type of subject because I feel like shooters are one of the best things to experience in VR, as they are one of the most immersive ways to get yourself in the game and of course feel like that absolute action hero. First, we have Robo Recoil. This is a game that's a little bit older, but honestly it is from a time period when all we cared about is making things look as good as possible and feel as immersive as possible, and those two things go hand in hand really nicely in virtual reality. Now, you can experience this on the Quest or you can experience this on PCVR, and honestly this is still to this day one of those top-notch experiences when it comes to just that fast-paced action that you get with a VR shooter. In this you can literally blast the limbs off of people, grab their arm, beat them to death with that, and then, you know, shoot their pistol out of their hand, grab their pistol, get back to work in bullet time whilst you're blowing away people in slow motion. Next up is Defector. This is like one of the best games you've probably never played. It genuinely is such a good experience. If you've ever wanted to feel like actually James Bond or Jason Bourne or someone of that nature, then this is going to be the game for you. As you go through this story as a secret agent dude, going in and just absolutely destroying the criminals, jumping out of planes at high speed, parachuting into another plane, whilst maybe even grabbing a car, driving out the back of a plane and riding that bad boy into the next plane. There's so many different options that come up to you as you go through this game. You can kind of go a few different ways each time, which lead to a replayability to this game which is pretty freaking top notch. On top of that, the gunplay in this is really bloody fun, the fighting is incredible, and the story is pretty damn solid all the way through. Unfortunately, this game dropped as sort of standalone VR really started to pop off, so people just didn't play this as much because it was PCVR. It's one I highly recommend you go check out because it is just a baller of an experience. Jump into this one and I swear you're going to feel like the next James Bond. Next up is Pistol Whip. Now, this is one of those games that you can jump into just for a quick 5 minutes, do a run in it, and feel like an absolute freaking badass by the time you get out of there. So it's really one of those time-saving experiences if you want to get in and just lose yourself to something quickly, maybe on your lunch break, work up a little bit of a sweat, and of course feel like an absolute badass at the end of it. The other side of this as well is that they just continually keep updating this with free updates, giving you new music packs, new experiences, and really like these fun like contained stories, as well as contract bits that you get in there as well, where you get to go in and feel like John Wick, essentially like getting paid your little gold coin to go in there and do your contract on a day. Honestly, I really love this game, and like I say, it's one of those value for money games because Cloudhead just continues to update this game with loads of cool DLCs which are free, so make sure you check this one out if you haven't already. I mean, I think most of us have at this point, but still it's one of those games that maybe you just need to jump back into if you've forgotten about, because it still holds up to this day with an array of different weapons that you can play the game with and have an absolute freaking blast. Next up is actually a modded game, but this modded game is also going to be coming to a full title, so we'll speak about that towards the end of this game, but it is Gunman Contracts. Now, this is a mod for Half-Life Alyx, if you can believe it, and it's not only just a great mod, it is a great experience full stop. This is going to truly make you feel like friggin' John Wick going through one of the most sort of realistic shooting experiences you can have, with each and every sort of heart-pounding moment leading to the next. You're going to actually jump into this just feeling like John Wick. It's the closest thing I've ever felt to feeling like being in those movies, while also just feeling like a freaking badass the entire time. Now, the reason I bring this up is not only is it one of the greatest mods that you can experience for Half-Life Alyx, it's also being developed into its own standalone game that's going to be coming to Quest and PCVR later this year. So keep your eyes peeled, because this is truly going to be one of those moments that when this game releases, I think it's going to hit so freaking hard. Now, who doesn't want to feel like an absolute badass with a gun in their hand, of course, in a game, but nonetheless, this is going to be one of those experiences that I think is going to stand out so hard. And not only that, he's going for the most realistic battle that you can possibly go for in this sort of scenario. So top-notch gaming. Right now you can go and experience 2 of these chapters in Half-Life Alyx, and the rest is going to be coming to standalone very soon. Next up we have Sniper Elite. Now, Sniper Elite is not the best game in history, but nonetheless it's still an absolute freaking blast to jump in there and experience. Now, what stands out about this one the most, of course, other than blasting a bunch of Nazis, is the fact that you get to do the X-ray kills, which are just oh so satisfying. To shoot someone and maybe blow off their manhood, the crown jewels, or of course just seeing, you know, a spinal tap happen. You know what I'm talking about. This game kind of has it all, and honestly, while it may not be the best game that's ever existed, it still is a pretty damn solid shooter, and one that you kind of need to experience in virtual reality just because it ticks all of those little boxes. Of course, the game that makes it to every list, Resident Evil. Whether it be Resident Evil 4 for the Quest, whether it be Resident Evil 4 the remake for PSVR 2, Village for PSVR 2, or of course Resident Evil 7 for the PSVR 1. Really, there is all platforms covered on this except for PCVR, but even there you can still experience a Resident Evil game just with mods. So make sure you check out these games because, well, I mean, listen, I speak about them in every one of these list type videos because of the fact that they are one of the most solid experiences from a AAA studio, may I add, that really tickles like all of the things that you're looking for when it comes to getting in for a VR shooter. You're going to get in there, you're going to experience some horror, you're going to experience some puzzles, you're going to experience some shooting, and all round, I think we all know by this point, Resident Evil is a freaking top-notch game. So hell yes, go and check out at least one of these titles because you can thank me later. They're all freaking awesome. Next up, we have Boneworks and Bone Lab. Both of these games are freaking dope experience because they are solid physics-based games. Now, on top of that, you have an array of weapons to get in there and blast your way to victory going through the full campaign, or of course just in your sandbox experience. It doesn't matter whether you're going to play Boneworks on the PC or whether you're going to play Bone Labs either on Quest or PC, you're going to have an absolute baller of a time. I love this game. It's so much fun to get into and just lose yourself in some silliness for a little while. Especially with Bone Lab, you get to go in there. There's a ton of different modes that you can go and experience. And again, if you even want to just jump in for a little bit, you can. It also has a built-in mod loader in Bone Lab, so you can actually just drag and drop your mods, get them in there, download them from within the game, no even going to anything external, and of course just have one hell of an experience messing around with a bunch of mods, guns, and dope stuff from other games. This is just one of those games that kind of has a very well-rounded experience, and like I say, with that on top of the physics-based stuff that goes in it, it just feels super satisfying to blast away a bunch of guys and race or parkour, do whatever it is that you're looking to do on that day, and just enjoy yourself. Next up, we have one of the best games that we've ever had in VR, and that is Half-Life Alyx. There is a good reason why every game gets compared to Half-Life Alyx, and that's because really it was the top tier of VR gaming and still kind of holds that crown, as not only does it have one of the best campaigns from start to finish in VR, on top of that it has just one of the most immersive worlds, with everything being interactable, the entire world around you feeling so involving as you go through this experience. It truly is, regardless of whether you're a fan of the Half-Life franchise or not, one of those experiences that you simply must try. If you have the ability to play this on PCVR, please get involved and play this. I know that a lot of people are hoping that this eventually makes its way to other platforms like the PSVR 2, and honestly, if it did, it would be such a win for virtual reality. Although I can't really see it happening, I kind of do hope that it does happen one day. Next up, we have Arizona Sunshine 1 and 2. Now, I bring these games up again as well a few times across these lists, and there's a good reason for that, but in today's video, the reason we're highlighting it is because it's just a solid shooter. These games just tick all the boxes when it comes to that solo experience, going through an array of different weapons that feel great, react great, and do exactly what you'd expect them to do to those poor old zombies. Now, honestly, the destruction in this game is high, and the gruesomeness and gore is also equally as high. So you're really going to feel the repercussion of pulling that trigger when it comes to these zombies' heads popping off or various different limbs. But you also get to use an array of weapons, which keeps you intrigued and involved in the game as you go through this entire experience. Both have incredibly solid campaigns, and honestly are just money well spent when it comes to playing these games. Not only that, but in Arizona Sunshine 2, you get a pet dog. His name's Buddy, and he is going to escort you through the game, and well, there's some stuff that will happen that will get you very attached to that little doggo, and yes, carrying guns is one of his special abilities as well. So making that VR shooter just a little bit better is of course having your companion dog who's going to carry all your weapons for you. Last up on this list is one of my all-time favorite games, Into the Radius. I cannot tell you enough how good this game is. Now, if you're looking for a weapon management as well as a VR shooter, this is going to be the one for you, because you can literally clean down all of these guns, get them working, get them jam free, polish them up real nice, and then take them into the Radius for one of the creepier experiences of your life as you go through experiencing really one of the highest tension shooters you're probably going to have. Now, you're going to have a bunch of different scenarios going on in this, whether you're going to be sort of hunting a bunch of like stalker-like dudes, or whether you're going to be actually getting into full-on gunfights with a bunch of the other sort of like shadow guys. There's so many things going on in this game that just make it a huge tick. If you like a scavenger hunt sort of type game, if you like something that's very grindy, and whether you sort of like make it in or out is all defined by how good you are at the game, then this one's just going to tick all those boxes. Not only that, but there is Into the Radius 2 being in development right now, which is not only going to be a solo game, it's also going to be a multiplayer game, so something to keep your eyes peeled for when it comes to Into the Radius. That's about it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, I have so much fun putting these list videos together, and if you enjoyed this and if you made it all the way to the end, then please do consider smashing that like button, maybe share it with a friend. That'd be kind of dope. Other than that though, I will catch you in the next video. Keep your eyes peeled on the community tab as I'll put the next vote up so that you guys can pick what kind of game you want. I'll heard you in the comments, so I'll be adding a couple of extra sections to it next time as well. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.